since it's 7 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Meeting of the Budget Committee for March 21st, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is in the photo right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. Any public comment? No public comment. Cool. Seeing none, we'll move forward to committee business. So the first thing we have to do is our reorganization, our election of officers. If anybody has anything to say about that?
Yeah, I would like to motion to reinstate Patrick Cassidy as the chair of the committee.
I second that. Thank God.
Any discussion?
Go Pat.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain, I guess. So that passes. So I guess I'm the chair for another year.
You're good at what you do.
I would like
Appreciate
to make a second motion to reinstate Joe Gagnon as vice chair of the committee.
I second.
Any discussion?
Good
All-
no.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Good thing we got 5 of us here tonight.
Yeah.
Guys have a fun vibe. I like it.
Yeah.
It is more casual.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Dun. Secretary.
So I would like him to make the motion. So naturally, we have the most junior member become the secretary. I saw that in my first year, but since we have 3 technically junior members, Kate, I'm wondering, would you like the position of secretary?
I am doing it, so I would be happy to continue doing it.
And
What are your thoughts?
Jason, would you like the position of secretary?
Oh no.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion for Kate Burbidge to be the secretary for the Londonderry Budget Committee.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I take it you're abstaining.
I will abstain, yes.
Okay.
All right, so then thank you for volunteering for that, Kate. It's a little bit of a thankless job, but if we have questions, if you have any questions, we can talk to Kirsten because I probably don't know all the answers. Anyway, it's pretty straightforward. We type the minutes and then you send them to me. Actually, she could probably send them to me and you at the same
Totally
time,
fine.
and then Kirsten puts them up until we and they stay up on the website. We don't put them as draft or anything like that. We just put them up, but then we do approve them the next meeting.
And if they change, I'll put up the one that changed. Ones.
Right, and then is there a little bit of a time frame? How long?
5 business days. I need the minutes within 5 business days of the meeting. So by the end of business, generally on a week later. So like next Monday. So
Okay.
you always have a weekend in there, which is lovely because this is definitely not anybody's full-time job.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, wait. I'm supposed to do something else before we hear from you. And
Minutes.
yes, the minutes. There it is.
So I do have an amendment to the minutes. It's just a small change under liaison reports. Under my report, just the percentage sign should be a $sign.
Okay, cool. I can fix that if I can borrow the computer for a minute.
Oh yeah, that's quite obvious.
Yeah. Total cost. It should be dollar amount, not a 56 or 560. Yeah.
563,000.
Yeah. Let's throw a
Percent.
comma after.
Okay, wait. Hold on 1 second. So, Kate, the one you've been editing right now, I'm just changing at the top to say March 21st.
Yep.
Pardon us for the admin work here for a second.
That's fine.
And then I'm opening up the minutes from February 22nd. And Joe, go.
Yeah. So in the school liaison reports.
Yep, I see it. Okay, I'm changing that percent to a $sign.
Yeah, and let's add a comma after the 3.
Okay, $563,032.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody catch anything else?
Nope. Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't there, so I abstain.
Okay, cool. All right, so then with those corrections, Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. And all 4 people that voted were present at the last meeting. You probably need to have that down, who voted and how they voted. So let me switch back to the other document. Okay, here's your March 21st.
Thank you.
And I'll send you the update, even though it's a small change.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so then with those things done, Kirsten came to talk to us today about fancy email changes.
Yep, you all know me, so I don't need to introduce myself to you guys, which is delightful.
Sorry, I probably should have done that
No,
anyway.
you're fine. You didn't. You actually don't need to. So,
Okay.
because you know. So yeah, what I'm here to talk about, I just wanted to touch base with you all about the email transition that we're doing. For quite a while, the town's been working to move from Microsoft Exchange to Microsoft 365. A couple of reasons for that. One is Exchange is kind of an obsolete system. It's hosted on in-house servers, which makes security protocols entirely in-house responsibilities, whereas 365 has better security, it's cloud-based, and we can work with our partners at Consolidated to handle most of the administrative and security work. We can count on them to do it, so it frees our IT department up to handle these 7 buildings and a couple hundred people that the 2 of them are in charge of maintaining. It's a really impressive job they do. So you all got the first email from me, which told you that the change is impending. We are just about to pull the trigger on the second set of emails, which you will each get an individualized email from me. It'll have your email address, and I'll be asking you to sign into Microsoft. Just create your Microsoft account. The step after that is going to be to set up your your multi-factor authentication. We're asking that you use Microsoft Authenticator, put it on your phone. If you don't have a cell phone, or you don't have a cell phone that you're permitted to add apps to, reach out to me separately. We'll figure something out on that. And then the next step is all of your emails will migrate over. So all of your old emails will come into this email box.
Okay, good, that's positive.
And you will have a forward for a while. So I'm asking you just keep using your current LondonderryNH.org email address until I let you know to start using the other one. It'll be the same start of your email, but it will be at tolboards.org. And the reason that's changing, just because I know you guys are the budget committee, you'd like to know why things are made, is because we've been in the process of splitting off into smaller clients. PD went onto a .gov client a long time ago. The fire department just went onto a .gov client and their own dedicated fiber network this past year, which isolates our emergency dispatch system from other places. So that's really awesome. And now we're switching our town staff onto a .gov, LondonderryNH.gov as well. There's a couple of reasons why we're not pulling all the boards onto that. One is that it's much more expensive for a .gov client. It has higher security, a lot more protocols. And those accounts are all designed to be used with the computers we have here in the building. So they have to use something called Active Directory to link the user's account on the computer to their email account. And the people who are getting those email addresses are the ones who use computers in the building and who represent themselves as kind of the ultimate representatives of the town to the state, for example, elections and town council. So that's why we're moving you guys onto .org. That way, if there's a security breach in one client, it doesn't necessarily spread to the others. It lets us isolate the damage, and it's more cost effective. So we can do. It's a lot more user friendly in the back end. So I've just to this point, what I've been able to do, and what Tom's been able to do is really fantastic, and we've gone through this process really quickly. So within, I'm always hesitant to say a day because there's always something that comes up, and we are working with Consolidated, so we're on their time frame too. Within the next few business days, you'll get an email from me to start moving over. You guys are Tier 2, I believe, so you guys are one in the second group that I'll send those emails out. I'm only sending so many a day because, mostly to keep myself sane. I'll be really honest about that. But yeah, some tier 1 is mostly people who didn't have emails at all before. So like cemetery trustees, part of the Arts Council. Tier 2 is boards that had mostly existing emails, and then tier 3 is land use boards. I'm moving them over last. So any questions for me on this?
So will this make it easier to get the emails on my
So
phone?
much easier. So what are you using now? Do you use your phone app or do you use your Outlook app?
It doesn't work on my phone.
Delightful.
So in order to get the town emails on my phone, I had to get an app called Blue Mail, which I got a while ago, and it worked for like a little bit. Did you have Blue Mail too?
No, I used the Microsoft Office app. But
Okay.
I got the emails, then I didn't. Then I got them again.
Yes, it's been inconsistent. Let me say that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I got them for a while, and then I don't get them. So like, in order for me to know that I have an email, I have to log in on a computer and check my email like it's 1995 or something.
Yeah,
So
same here.
and it's sad that I'm complaining about that. But so yeah, if they can, we can get notifications on the phone. That'd be great.
Yes. So you'll be able to use the Outlook app. The Outlook app is going to be your easiest way to do that.
Okay, and
Downloading.
I think I have that
Yep.
already.
And you can put multiple accounts in it, so you can set it up so you can see all your emails from all your accounts, or you can just
Or I can
click through the
separate them
separate
out, okay.
accounts. Yep. And whereas right now to get our town email into a phone client, a phone app, you had to log in and you had to know the domain and you had to separate out the username versus the domain, the full email. And
It was a little bit of a pain.
it is a pain. This one, it'll be email address, password. That's the beautiful thing about 365. Even when you're putting it on your phone, it'll be email address, password. Just
Thank God.
the full email address and password. You'll go to outlook.com or office.com, sign in, you'll be good to go. So it's much easier. And the only trick is going to be, remembering that two-factor authentication, but if you save it on your phone, you won't need to do it every time you open your phone client because, phone. Authenticate on phone.
Right, exactly. Pretty easy.
But yeah.
Okay, that brings up a couple questions related to the emails. So the other day, I mistakenly, when I sent out the agenda, put everybody on the 2 line instead of on BCC. Does that matter?
Yeah, you're fired. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, could that be looked at as an unofficial meeting or
No,
something like that?
not the simple act of putting somebody in the 2 line. No, an unofficial meeting is when you have something that can be considered an unofficial meeting is when you have sequential communication leading to a decision in email.
Okay.
So that means that, like, if you say, "Hey, I think we should. I think we should invite this person to the meeting." I mean, even that is close to not being a big deal, but we still discourage it. Like when you're like, "All right, let's invite this person to the meeting for this day." And what do you all think? And you all imply in sequence, yes, yes, yes. Well, you've just made a decision outside of public session, and you
Okay.
can't do that.
Okay.
So simply the act of putting somebody in the 2 field, not a big deal. It's when people start replying that it becomes a big deal. The biggest thing I can say is avoid the reply all button like it's your, college ex. And just avoid the reply all button and you'll actually be, because then you'll just, if Patrick, you do that and like Joe, you reply, you haven't communicated with a quorum and you haven't communicated sequentially. So even if you say it's still subject to 91A discovery,
Yeah.
but you haven't created an illegal meeting there. So that's the biggest thing to remember when you go through. Minor clerical things like, hey, I'm changing the meeting from 6 to 7, or from 7 to 6 this day. Can you make it? That's clerical business can be completed through email. Again, discoverable under 91A. So again, front page of the newspaper, grandmother's 80th birthday party, like keep it clean, keep it above board. But you can do minor clerical work. Like, hey, it's supposed to snow tomorrow night. I'll let you know I'm canceling the meeting. Those can be done via email without it being an illegal meeting.
Okay.
The big thing is like if the public would have any interest in understanding the decision or the rationale leading up to it, you want it to be done in the public eye in transparent circumstances.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool.
Other questions about email stuff?
Email 91A, anything like that?
Well, we were gonna talk about 91A and see if we think we should have another briefing on it. Last year we had before you guys were appointed, we had Mr. Malaguti come and speak to us about 91A, and we were able to ask him questions, and I thought that was pretty solid. So I was going to discuss with the members to see if we wanted to do that again.
So I think it is very beneficial, especially since we have three members who haven't experienced that briefing.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah, you're right.
It is, as someone I've gone through it several times, it is very beneficial to go through that.
Okay.
And just to realize what you can and can't do, well, what you should and shouldn't do. I mean, yeah, can and can't do as well. Like, you can't send an email to everyone and be like, hey, respond to this. But also on other platforms as well, like with social media. Because I asked Mike while he was the town attorney I asked him a lot of social media questions, what I could and couldn't do. And those were very beneficial to get those answered. Also for just like writing stuff on paper and whatnot. So I think let's bring him back next meeting, get those questions answered.
Okay.
I'll bring some of my old questions just to
Spark the conversation.
yeah, and if you guys have any questions about anything that you think would with 91A, everything is supposed to be. The public is supposed to be able to, request when we're talking about things. That's the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing that he put in my head. Like, if we're talking about things that have to do with the budget committee, have to do with our charge, the public should be able to request and know about it. So any questions that you got, just bring them next week.
Okay.
No question is a stupid question.
We can set that up for next meeting. I'll talk to.
I was going to ask you, please reach out to him.
And I mentioned it a little bit in the agenda that was also sent to him, so hopefully he saw the email the other day, but he had a heads up. But I'll talk to him, and he may want the town attorney to do it, he may want to do it himself, whichever the case may be. So I'll talk to him.
Yep. And for those of you who've seen the Right to Know guidebook before, some of you might have seen it before, there is an appendix. So it's the 2021 version, but it has a late 2023 updated appendix with all the new rules, including the ombudsman, I hate saying that word, and some of the more recent court cases that have kind of clarified some of the scope, because 91A is, as we all know, was created long before the digital age. It was revised, and then they're constantly kind of trying to figure out the boundaries of it in the digital age, and it's always a challenge, but you guys are generally very proactive in reaching out and trying to solve the problem, so.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, if you want to take off, I think
I'm
we're
gonna
good.
go home.
Good for you.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
Like I said, I did 4 years of this. This is your time, so yeah.
And do you need to know who's liaisons? We'll
No.
in a minute, but
Nope, I just need the officers for the MS 123, and I have that, so it's good. So, and I'll be filing the paperwork with the DRA.
okay.
So yeah, then just need to know who's on the boards. Yeah, so if you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know. But you guys are good to go. So I'm
Thank
done
you.
here.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Hope
it.
you guys have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful
You
evening.
You too.
Take care.
All right, so that kind of started the discussion about what we want to accomplish this spring, but let's pause that for a minute and talk about liaison assignments. So, in a little review of what the purpose of the liaison assignments are is twofold. The primary, in my opinion, is to help us know the players in town. Build relationships. Whoever's assigned to the PD gets to know the chief. Now you have a little bit of rapport there. So when things come up, if we have questions and the chief's not available, you may have some answers. Or you can reach out. So it's not always the chair reaching out. Sometimes it can be the liaisons reaching out if somebody has a question or whatever. But it really is about building relationships, essentially. I know my first year, I was like, they mentioned this guy Justin. I'm like, who's Justin that we keep talking about? I don't know who Justin is. And obviously that was quickly remedied. But, there's a lot of names and a lot of people, and you don't know everybody. And they don't know us either, so it gives them a chance to know us as well. And the secondary goal of the liaison assignments is to, at our meetings between now and the budget season, we do a little small report saying, hey, if there's anything financial going on with whatever we're a liaison to. And I'm telling you guys stuff you already know, but that's okay.
Sean's learning too now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're basically asking the questions like, how are you doing as far as your budget goes? Are you predicting that you come in under budget, over budget, or on budget, I guess? And is there any, big expenditures coming up, and, how are those planned for, whatever, like simple questions, just kind of check-ins along the way. So usually, it's a pretty short report, whenever we do talk about it. At any rate, that's the goal of liaisons. And I had a few suggestions. I know it's a little different than the past. In the past, or last year at least, we talked about it. I was like, hey, what do you feel like doing? Who wants to do what? But I kind of had some thoughts, most of which are organized. So I personally wanted to do something different. So I've been the PD liaison for a couple of years. I wanted to give somebody else a chance to do that. And I was interested in trying the capital improvement plan, if Sarah didn't mind, unless you're tied to that. But if you're willing to try something different, then we could both kind of switch roles a little bit. Not necessarily you switch to PD, but we could rotate things around a little bit. Do you have thoughts?
I did want to hold on to that one.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'm willing to give it to you.
Okay. Is there anything else you have a strong feeling about?
No.
Okay. Ryan said he would like to keep fire.
Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with Ryan keeping fire?
No.
All right. And we don't have to vote on these things, but let's have Ryan keep fire. We'll do that. If you don't have a problem with me doing CIP and no one else is chomping at the bit to check that out, I really don't know much about it. And when I saw the emails last year, I'm like, I have no idea what the CIP is doing. So
It's
I feel
advisory only. That's what I've learned.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, we're used to being advisory only, I guess.
Everywhere.
But okay, so if nobody has an objection to that, I'd like to take that on. I thought we should consider you for town council because you did that last time. You and I were town council, and then I bailed, and Kate took it over.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. Right.
So if you were willing to continue doing that, you kind of have an in.
True.
And it's pretty easy to get your report of what happened or
True.
what's happening.
That's very fair.
So I was thinking of you as primary for town council.
Okay. That's fine. You okay with that, Kate?
I'm fine with that, yeah.
So that being said, is anybody interested in? So we're still talking about town council, I guess. Anybody interested in being the secondary for town council? The meetings are the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, or first and third?
Mondays.
Typically
Yeah, they're
first.
Mondays, but
Oh yeah, I said Wednesday. I meant Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second and fourth Mondays.
Jason.
No,
Yeah,
no, first
Joe
and
can be
third.
secondary. Joe,
Jason.
sorry, Jason. Oh my god.
Okay, so Jason secondary. That's
Gotta watch
great.
those meeting notes.
Yeah, and you attend a lot of town council meetings, as do you. You almost have to now, right? It's required.
It'll be better though for me. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Easy to get notes, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. I asked Dave Plaza what he was interested in because I talked to him yesterday. When he said he couldn't, when he telling me he couldn't make it here tonight, and he said he was interested in DPW. Who was DPW last
So I was DPW last time. I'm happy for him to take that over. I love the DPW. I think it's a, if he wants to do that, he
Okay.
should.
Another good
He's got an
opportunity to work
engineering
with.
background
Yeah.
too, so that's actually kind of a great fit for him.
Exactly, yeah. And and Doug's a good guy.
Yeah.
Over there with DPW, so yeah.
Okay, so so then Dave Plaza will do DPW.
Yep.
And okay, so town hall.
I would like to do town hall.
Okay, and town hall, I know that's not specific, but town hall, the idea is, and we created this one last year, the
That's
idea
Marine
is
Head.
that was Marine last
Yeah.
year, yes, is an opportunity to touch base with Mike and Justin
Mhm.
once a month and basically check in. Really more Justin. You might not get a hold of Mike every month, I don't think, but I don't know how that worked for Maureen. I think it became more talking to Justin, but the idea is Mike and Justin.
Okay.
Cool?
Yep.
Mike Malgoody being the town manager and Justin Campbell being the finance director. Here I'm doing exactly what I said I felt the first couple times. All right, so town hall is Kate
That leaves police and schools.
and school. Okay. Anybody interested in police?
I'm interested in police. I really want to get. I haven't done police before. I've done schools, DPW, and I like to get more on the town side. And I think police would be good for that.
Okay. So Joe for police. All right, so that leaves school, primary and secondary. And here's where somebody would have to take on a second position. We had a little bit more of this last year since we had like 3 people when we had 5 or whatever, but we were short people last year. You're cool with school?
Yeah, secondary.
Cool
I mean,
school,
if that's
sorry.
okay. Could we do secondary and 2 things?
Yeah, that's great, sure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you have to attend the town council
Right.
and the school board meetings. You know, you can tag team it and be like, you know, whoever the other person is. And Dave said he was interested in that.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah.
if nobody wants to be primary schools, Dave is willing to be primary. I wrote Dave actually. I meant to write Jason. Dave is willing to be schools. He didn't actually say primary. I don't think I asked, but it's really, we say primary and secondary, but it's really like a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, I've done the schools. I mean, each year I've been on here, and the biggest thing is just like checking with your other person. Is like, how do we want to divide this up when we present it to the budget committee?
Right. Even you and I last year, like, I couldn't make a lot of the town council meetings, and you were making the majority of them. But then when you're like, hey, I can't make this one, I was able to go. You know, we just kind of covered one another a little bit.
Yeah, you work with your partner on that.
Cool. So let's do that then. Unless somebody really is chomping at the bit for school, let's do Dave and Jason.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. So just to review that, Kate, schools primary is Dave, secondary is Jason. Town council primary is Sarah, secondary is Jason. Kate, town hall is you. DPW is Dave Plaza. Police department is Joe Gagnon. Fire department is Ryan Cronin. And CIP is me.
Great.
Okay. Discussion of election results. I'm trying to keep it moving. So, can I borrow a town one for a minute?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that's
this
not
one's
it.
the town.
So my opinion is that John said last year at one of our meetings, John Farrell, that the town goes where budget committee leads. And, you know, I agree with that statement, but I thought it was maybe a little over the top at the time. But he's right. Like, the way we voted on things, if it was 7-0, if it was 6-1, it passed, pretty much.
Yeah.
If it was less than 6-1, it didn't pass. And so, you know, I think we had a good role in the discussion as far as what ended up going onto the warrants. But B, the way we vote really does matter, and I think these numbers back that up. So, for example, so we voted against the treasurer position. The treasurer becoming,
Appointed.
that's Article 2, becoming appointed, thank you. My words were failing me. And the town did as well,
Yep.
right? We voted in favor of water,
Passed.
7-0, and it passed. And that was a big one that required 3/5.
Yep.
We voted 7-0 for Article 4, Article 5, Article 6, Article 7, Article 8, all the quick stuff. 9, 10, 11, 12, they all passed. Honestly, cemetery was the closest to not passing. 13, we were 7-0, it passed. 14, the additional prosecutor, we were 6-1, if my memory serves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it passed, so my theory still applies here. 15, we were 7-0, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it passed. Pickleball, we were, I lost my place.
What, 4-3?
I think we were 4-3 in favor.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't pass. So like you can really see that there's certainly a pattern there where if we're 6-1 or 7-0, it passes. If we're not, then so far the votes reflect that.
Except
Yeah.
school.
Huh?
Yeah.
Except
Except
school.
School
Right.
broke the rule.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
school
Yeah.
broke the rule.
In both cases.
Yeah.
Yep.
In
It was
both-
close for the first one.
Moose Hill expansion and all day kindergarten failed.
Right.
Yeah, but we were 5-2 on
6
the expansion.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were we 6-1 and
6-1 and
Yeah.
in the expansion, and then the all day
4-3.
kindergarten was
4-3. Yeah.
4-3? So I'm not. So you're right. That 6-1 does break the rule, but it was
Yeah.
It
close.
was very close. 54%.
It was
yeah.
54, and so that was pretty close.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put that back up again because it was so close.
Probably will.
So
things to say about that, but yes.
yeah, and we'll have a whole year of hashing that out and discussing other options hopefully. But it seems like they vote the way we recommend, or the votes tend to take our recommendations in account.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy that water passed.
Me too.
Oh, me,
Yeah.
trust me, me too.
So I
want
did
that.
an analysis about like who showed up and how many votes together all the warrant articles got, and the most that people showed up for was the water.
Really, not the kindergarten.
No, that was second.
That was second.
Yeah,
Okay.
or third, and then, or was it pickleball that was second or third?
Actually, I have
Third.
we have the numbers. So let's see. So water was
Water
Article
was number
3,
one.
and there were. I'm not going to count the undervotes. I'm just going to count the yays and nays. There were a total of 4,274 votes, and pickleball is Article 16. There were 4,252, and then where's kindergarten?
Here.
The expansion.
Oh, the numbers are on there? No, the
Oh,
numbers
no.
are on here.
Oh.
So the addition and renovation was 2121. So just the expansion was 4215, and I lied. That wasn't the expansion. That was full day K. Full day K was 4215. The expansion was 4213.
Wow.
Oddly, 2 people less. So 4,200 votes for the 2 kindergarten ballots, or 2 kindergarten articles, and 4,270 for town and 4,250 for pickleball.
Wow.
So yeah, those 4 things are clearly what
Yep.
people came up for.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
So people vote on issues, that's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Especially when you see all the undervotes for the people.
Yeah.
I honestly think that because, I'm not sure how the timing all worked last year, but it seemed like it was well into December before we found out what the tax bills were going to be in December, like December 15th or whatever. They got the numbers because they were waiting for the state, and there was reassessments this year. And so I think people got hit in the pockets
Definitely.
in December. And I need to talk to Jason to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, but we set the
You mean
tax
Justin?
rate. Justin, did I say Jason?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Making sure.
It's been a week.
Justin,
Um,
Jason, Joe.
We got too many J's. So they set the tax rate in March, right? And that's based on the values of all of the residents in the town in March or April, whenever they set them, right? And then in December, if we have a reevaluation, does the rate adjust at that time, or does that adjustment in rate based on the new values not take effect until the following March when we set the new rate? That's my question for Justin. Do you follow what I mean?
Yeah.
Meaning, if you own a $400,000 home and your assessment goes from $400,000 to $500,000, that if we're paying $18 per thousand, that 18 per thousand that you were paying in March, does that change in December when your value goes up, or does that not get corrected until the following year?
Right.
Because if it doesn't get corrected in the following year, then we see a lot bigger tax bill in December, and then it kind of calms down a little bit in June on those years where we have an assessment or reassessment, I guess, revaluation, whatever they call it. So I'm curious how that works. And if that's the case, then I think people saw these increases in December, and we felt some of that on voting day in March.
They got sticker shock for sure.
They got sticker shock, and the price tag on some of these things were not small.
Right.
So
So the reval is definitely going to be just in question because he'll know when the next. I mean I forget when it is, but the
well,
period-
they definitely did reevaluations this past year.
Yeah,
Yes,
and,
they did.
2023.
and it's gonna be
So it'll be 2025. They're doing it every 2
Yeah.
years because we switched from doing it every 5 to doing it every 2, which is
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
Definitely better. It gets rid of the big swings.
Yes.
But anyway, so I think that that may have made it more difficult for things to get passed this year because of if people were feeling that sticker shock.
Yep. The other thing too is with the kindergarten expansion and the full day kindergarten article, from my understanding, a lot of towns did not vote for any type of public school funding and expansions and new renovation projects. It wasn't just Londonderry.
Yeah, I did
a lot
see
of
that.
places in-
Yeah, so
Right.
that
Yeah.
was
Like
a
projects around the state didn't
Didn't get voted in.
passed.
I,
Yep.
yeah, I mean statewide people were voting no.
Yeah.
So that could be good for us too. If water passed here and other projects like it didn't pass in other towns, then that's, monies from those funds that are available theoretically.
Bedford was the
Right.
only town I heard that something like that passed. Everything else I heard was basically like, no. It didn't pass in Litchfield, didn't pass in Derry,
That's
didn't pass in
great. So
Londonderry.
more state money for us. then.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
my hope.
Awesome.
I'm hoping that's how it works.
Yeah.
So, same page there, Sarah.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else about the election results? I kind of waxed poetic there for a minute.
I mean, just to reiterate, I mean the townsfolk pretty much went where we went.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Agreed. So,
The one thing about the election that I did want to talk about, because I don't know what this might mean for us, was one of those
yes,
the budget committee,
citizen petition. Yeah,
the citizens
yeah.
petition,
What number is that?
22.
And that passed.
That
right?
passed.
It
Most
did
people
pass,
wanted
yes.
that to be not advisory. So obviously that doesn't actually change anything. It was an advisory only. But if that is something that the people are interested in,
I think that requires more research.
yes, I was going to say,
So
because
there's
I agree
needs
with
an
that.
amendment to the town charter,
Correct.
which
Right.
it was not. You can't just amend the municipal code and change that. You need a town charter amendment to change that.
It needs more than that.
Right, and if
It's
they-
up in RSA.
Yeah.
And
Well,
if they just
the
saying-
RSA allows us to make the charter amendment, which means well, does this mean like should we as a committee push the town council to go forward on a charter amendment to make the town budget committee? I mean, we got to
Right, I
amend
think-
our charter and the school charter.
I think this stemmed from some feelings, not this budget season, but the one before, that budget committee didn't have any teeth, and budget committee our advice didn't seem to be being
Yeah.
taken in the discussions about the budget, and as they're building these things and they're deciding what the warrant articles are and how they're going to handle things, we were saying things that didn't seem to get as many responses as possible.
Okay.
And so even myself at one meeting, I was like, look, you asked us to look at this budget and come in and find places to cut.
Yeah.
We came with a list of 18 things. You said no to all of them. What are we doing here?
Right.
And so those statements on my part, and I think, that impression in general, might have led to this. I don't know that this is the right move. I know that this passed, it's advisory only, but I think if it wasn't advisory only, I'm not sure that this is the way we should be going. Again, it's not up to me, but I do feel like we were very involved in the process this last year. And when things were discussed and they were deciding, hey, should we, for example, use money from the undesignated fund, or do we want to do the 4 firefighters?
Yeah.
The town council turned to budget committee and be like, what are your thoughts? And everybody kind of weighed in, and it wasn't official, but John almost like took a vote on those things before they said, okay, yeah, we want to try this warrant article for 4 firefighters.
Because
We want
I
to try
gotta
this
agree
warrant
with
article
you
for
on
the prosecutor.
that. Like this year, we were listened to on both the town and the school side, and they were very receptive to us. Our recommendations they took very seriously.
Right, even the fact that the kindergarten
And
got
having-
turned into 2 warrant articles, like that was
They asked
in
us
part
yeah.
us pushing
Yeah,
for that.
and
Yeah.
having
And more transparency too. I'm
Us.
very happy for that.
Yes.
They
Yep.
did listen.
Yes.
I'm so happy with that.
Yep.
but having us do the default budget for the town, and then we're going to turn over new for the school next, because
Right, I don't
the
personally.
townsfolk will get confused on why is the budget committee doing it just for the town but not for the school,
Yeah.
and that leads
Right, and my understanding of the default budget from Justin is that
The budget is
Everything's
it
baked
is what
in
it
there.
is, right? It's
Yeah.
all baked in. It's like
Right.
it's basically all things that have already been voted on
Yeah.
that have to happen, plus whatever we spent last year normally.
yeah
So I don't feel qualified to make that budget, even though it's, as we say, already kind of baked in. I'm not sure that that's the right role for us. We have Justin and Lisa McKinney with their expertise to do that, I don't feel like there's any disservice being done by them creating the default budget. And if there was, we see these budgets and get to speak up about it.
Yeah.
So like, I don't see where that gains us anything. Do you?
I think my only comment about that is maybe like having the power when we were having those library discussions and they weren't listening to us.
Huh.
That's where we could have actual influence. Say like, no, like this is enough. That's enough, right?
Well, I mean, that would.
Right.
I mean, we
That's
would
the only
probably
thing I
need.
can think of.
That's. I mean, the biggest issue with that is because the library is considered a third branch of government.
right.
Yes.
We would have to amend our charter to reel them in.
Have a role
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
And right, that's going to be the only way. Like reel them into the
Because
town.
even if we were able to
But-
do that,
And they did
I
make
will
changes
say that.
in response to
Yeah.
the things
Yeah.
we had to say.
yes,
They
Eventually,
didn't do
yes.
what
Yeah.
we necessarily what we wanted with,
Right. It's their budget.
but they still made cuts that made up for it,
Yeah.
which
Agreed.
was
yeah.
Agreed.
Which
That's
was-
what we were
and they
asking for.
and as far as the merit increases go, that's what we were really asking about because I think you guys are both here for this, Jason and Kate. But if I remember correctly, the library employees get a 3% COLA and a up to 5% merit, which is a little higher than what the other non-union town employees
Right.
are eligible for.
yeah.
And so we asked them to take a look at that and see if that 5% number could come down. And they said, they didn't say no, they just couldn't do it then in whatever month that was,
Right.
right at the end of budget season. So I think hopefully we'll see some movement on that this coming budget season.
Yeah.
And we can ask those questions sooner now that we found that. And that's really the thing is, we get the budget books and we have to find things,
Yep.
which is sometimes difficult to do. I thought we did a good job of that this past year. When we sat, kind of had a round table and came up with our list of questions, that I thought that was solid. Because that was something I didn't find. I think Ryan and Maureen found that. So like that was good. Digging into the books is not easy.
Yep.
So yeah, I interrupted you. I got you guys about 22. What were you saying about the advisory thing? Oh, you were saying
That's
that.
the only thing that I could think of, like that
Yeah.
gives us direct power, but that's about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my concern with that, even with especially if it's like the library aspect of it too, is that the way it would be presented on a warrant article would be town budget committee recommended budget is X, and they wouldn't see where that money is coming from. It would just be one total.
You mean if we made the
Essentially-
default budget?
No. If there were like a budget committee, I think that the spirit of the article was that you would see the default budget, you would see the town council budget,
No.
or no.
So it would be like a town budget and then a default budget set by us.
Oh, okay.
So that was
Okay.
the spirit because you can't have. So in talking with the author of that warrant article, that person went to DRA
Yep.
to ask them about that and said that.
And I guess some towns do it this way.
Oh yeah, like Salem, like down in Salem, I know that's how they do it. Budget committee sets default, and then town council sets their own. Like that's, and the same thing with their schools. They got budget committee that sets school budget, and then school board sets their own. I mean,
Okay.
some towns they work that way. Our town we've worked this way. That's just. I mean, I feel that when we talk to at least this past budget season, when we go to town council and school board, they listen.
Yep.
I could see like if it came to a point in like years from now where that wasn't the case, where they just ignored us and say, oh, whatever, budget committee, whatever.
Yeah, then we could be
Yeah.
pushing.
Then we can push for that. But right now, where they're listening,
And I think
we should let them know that we're going to be
Yep.
partners, but we're going to make a stink about it. We're going to talk about it at our meetings.
Yep.
We're going to bring this up over and over again at your meetings when we're together. So
if it came to that.
yeah, if it came to that. But right now, they're willing partners.
And I think either way, we should touch base with Mike and find out what this means, if anything, right now. I don't think it means anything right now because it's just advisory, and we added that that was added at the
Yeah.
town deliberative. But I think it merits a conversation. Anyway.
The last thing I want to say on that is if people are thinking about this, and that's what it's done in other towns, I would like to also think about, again, if this is something that people are very much, I'm not super interested in that, mostly because one, what would the additional workload look like for us if we're creating the default budgets?
Agreed.
And two, if there is an additional workload on that, I think budget committee then should become a paid position. And
And
that's
there's
something
been,
that
and there's
people
been
could
discussions
consider.
about that in the past, and the
Yeah.
problem to my understanding, is that if they decide to make budget committee paid, you know, whatever, $500 or whatever the heck it is, then there's an argument that the planning board and
Yeah.
every
Yep.
other board should have something similar. So I don't know how that would all
Right,
play out.
exactly.
I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah,
But I see your
same.
point that if the workload increases and now we're having to spend, you know, whatever, 10 hours a month working building the default budget,
Yeah,
that's a different ballgame.
yes.
And that would be charter commission and 2 separate elections for that.
Yeah, it would
Yes.
take a lot for that to happen. So, okay, so
I have a
go ahead.
quick comment. Yeah, I just think that my 2 cents is that it's not necessary. You can go fight your battle at deliberative. You said that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think that necessarily moving in that direction would be productive necessarily because we're able to be productive anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think that if it was to happen, it's necessarily giving that powers to this committee.
Yep.
I think it's a new committee. At least that's the way I read it.
Mhm.
So go fight your election battles again.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
thank you.
Yeah, that's
Once every 3 years is enough, thanks.
Yeah. And I think that if the town wants to look at those amendments, citizen petition articles, and say, okay, we should be doing a charter revision or whatever, I don't know how that all works, that's a conversation, you know, for another day
Yeah.
with a lot of other people, I'm sure. And I'm not suggesting that either, but,
I felt like deliberative was really productive.
cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So, okay, so does that sum up election results? I forgot about
Yep.
22, sorry about that. Okay, spring agenda / goals, okay? So last spring, we did tours of the police department, DPW, the fire department. We always do tours of the schools in August. Did I miss anything that we did? We met with Justin to have kind of the process for the budget kind of explained since
Yeah.
6 members were new.
Yep.
We met with Lisa McKinney to have the same conversation, and we met with Mike Malaguti for 91A questions. That's was our kind of agenda unofficially over the spring and summer, which we did, and into fall. And some of those tours were not till like October,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That was a lot. So my question is, do we need to do those again? You guys were here for fire. Do we need to do another tour of fire?
So
Go ahead,
I think it's beneficial.
to do it every year?
I really do.
Okay.
I know that so I think it's beneficial just to see what's changed. Because when each department head is doing the tour, they also talk about what's going to be on the budget. What those, we are proposing warrant article to do this. And this is the change that we want to see. So we might see the same things, but we get to see what they're talking about. Like, hey, this is what we want to change. Like with DPW, like, okay, these vehicles are being taken care of. But this year, we want these ones to be taken care of.
Right, exactly. I think
So-
that was a huge, seeing the vehicles
Oh,
at
yeah.
DPW and the
Police
state of
department, we got this all set up, but we're going to have X amount of people doing this. And this is what it'll look like. Because when we did, I think I wasn't at fire, but with police, when Chief Bernard went through and we're talking with folks there, they were able to talk about like, oh yeah, when this is full people, we're doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
And if they're asking for more folks or filling more roles,
Or fixing things or whatever, yeah.
right? Like we can see those things that they're talking about, and that gives us a better insight when going into those meetings with the town council. I felt like that gave us more leverage when talking to the town council.
Yep.
Like, hey, we saw these things,
Yeah.
and especially when citizens were asking us questions,
We knew
During our
we
meetings.
knew what some of the situations
and we
were.
could talk to them about that intelligently.
Okay.
Even
And
if
Sean can go now.
I mean,
Yeah, Ron came on all these tours
Yes,
too.
he did.
yeah, and just because we've seen these things before, this will help us talk more intelligently about the issues that are going to appear on the ballot. Talk to citizens intelligently and let them know, yeah, just a few months ago we saw X, Y, and Z. I know what you're talking about. This is why we're like each one of us is for or against or whatnot for different positions. So I think it's important, and I also think it helps us with that connection with each department. I
Agreed.
felt like part of why I wanted to be the police liaison is I never had a relationship with them. I had never been to their department before. I hadn't been in the
Before
police
that tour?
And the last time I was at the police department is when they had the old police department years and years ago when I was in elementary school here.
Wow, okay.
So it was great for me to see that, see what it looked like, talk to them and build a relationship with the chief and talk to him intelligently about the different warrant articles and build that relationship to talk to them. So I think that helps each member when making decisions.
Okay, that works for me. We can do
I'm
that.
fine with that, yeah.
And yes, absolutely. So we have. Let me think about this for a minute. We have April, May, June. In July, we have traditionally not met. I personally am going away from like July 18th to like July 29th or something like that.
Good for you.
So that would be when we were going to have a budget meeting anyway, theoretically. So I would like to, say let's continue that tradition of not meeting in July.
Second.
So moved, whatever.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, we'll vote on that another day. but theoretically, no July, okay? And then in August, we have the school tours. I don't have the dates of those, but I'll get them for next meeting.
Traditionally, it's the last week of August.
Right? It's like a Tuesday, Wednesday night, or a Wednesday, Thursday night, like
right
before
before
school starts again. So August we have the school tours. That means we could set up a tour theoretically in April, May, June, September, October. That allows us to cover police, fire, DPW. I think that we should go to the library.
I think we should go to the SAU office.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mentioned it to you earlier, and you're like, "Yeah, let's talk about it in the
I haven't
spring."
been to this. In
Okay, and I totally forgot about it. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So police, fire, DPW, library. You agree with the library conversation? Like I
Yeah,
feel like
sure.
we end up with a
Library.
lot of questions
Yeah.
about this stuff.
But we should
And
see it.
that's the tour we didn't do, and we don't get to
Didn't
know
they have
Erin.
leaks? Like they had leaks and stuff in their roof. Like,
Oh,
Yes, they had a new roof replacement.
oh,
Yep.
they did.
I thought they did, yes.
I don't.
Good. Oh, sorry. Random.
These are good
No,
questions.
don't be
Yeah.
sorry.
And us going,
Bring this up.
us
Yeah.
going there will answer those questions.
Yeah.
And I think it will also give us a chance to meet Erin, and
In her-
to have a little bit. I feel like we have a good rapport with Chief Bernard and a good rapport with Chief Butler, and we don't really know Erin very well. I don't even know Erin's last name, so there you go.
Matlin.
Matlin, thank you. So that might help that a little bit.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm forgetting one though. Police, fire, DPW, library, schools would happen on their own in August, and then we would theoretically. I like the
SAU
SAU
office.
idea.
Question: Lions Hall.
Yes,
Is it
Yes.
possible?
I'm sure it is.
Well, they had it open to the public.
Well, it's closed.
It's not open to
right
public now,
Yeah,
Right.
but
But-
they did have like an open house.
but that would be positive.
right.
Yep.
Heck, give us masks. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
Go in there.
Sign the waiver.
No, that's
So, and that may be something that we
Oh.
do with Dave Wally from
Yeah.
DPW.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, DPW tour.
So I don't know that we're going to combine the two because the DPW
Yeah.
tour takes a while. So that's 6 tours and we have 5 meetings during that time frame.
Guess we need more meetings.
Well, we could do one in
Done.
August. Outside of the school tours,
Yeah.
especially if it's something short.
Yep.
And I
I mean,
don't think
because Lions Hall wouldn't be too long.
No.
So maybe that
And
would
Lions Hall and
be
DBW could be combined, probably.
I'm just thinking of
DPW took a
time
while.
distance.
And
That's
we
true,
run out
that's
and we
a
run
long
out of
time.
light out there.
Yeah, and the time distance from DPW back to like center of town is still
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a bit. It's like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so I will work to set up the 6 tours theoretically.
Okay.
Does it matter what is when? I mean, like, if we are doing a tour in April, it's pretty far in advance of budget season.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that matter?
I do want to kick it off with police. I'll talk with Chief Bernard.
Okay, that's fine. Cool.
Okay.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
And
Alright.
what we did in the past was we did a tour at we did it a couple different ways. A couple times we tried doing a tour at 6 and then our meeting at 7.
Yep.
And then other times we did our meeting and then went on the tour. That's what we did with fire, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know which is better.
Probably before.
Before?
Yeah, because the tours can get long and you don't know when they're going to end.
You mean do the meeting before?
Yes, that's what
Yeah, I think that was better with fire.
Yeah.
With police, we ended up kind of
Yeah.
cutting it short because we had to go to our meeting.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
that's okay.
So fire, I thought worked better. I don't
Because we
remember.
had to go to the 3 stations. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
So
But it's
would we
good.
want to do like a for April, a
We
6
could-
p.m. meeting and then 7 p.m. tour?
Okay. Yes.
Police?
What are the thoughts on that? If we up the meeting time to 6 instead of 7, can
I'm
people
fine
make
with
it?
that.
Can we make it like
That's fine.
6:30?
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
Do
okay?
that. And we don't even have to
We
move
just
it.
want because I think this next meeting is going to be too long anyways. If we're just because we're just doing our reports. That's going to be the biggest chunk.
And we're gonna talk about 91A.
Oh,
yeah.
son of a gun. Okay, so let's.
I think what we can cut out this spring is I don't think we need to
Yeah.
have Justin come talk to us about the budget
Sure.
process.
Sure.
You guys have already experienced the budget process,
Yeah.
so the only guy that hasn't is Dave.
Yeah.
And we can set up a
Yeah.
one-on-one for
Yes.
Dave and Justin if we wanted,
Yeah.
and Dave and Lisa if we wanted. But Dave may not need that. He's been around a while in town doing things. I don't know what other roles he's had, but I know he's not new to being involved.
So maybe.
So maybe that's unnecessary.
Yeah. So.
But I
maybe
feel
not-
like meeting with Justin and meeting with Lisa, we probably don't need to do this year.
No.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to say that and then find out, oh my gosh, there's this big project that they were trying to do and they wanted to talk to us about and we didn't really get a heads up. So that's the danger there that we may get to November and be a little more surprised on that. But if we see them with the tours anyway.
Yeah.
So that was me talking around that a lot. Sorry.
It's okay.
So
Yeah.
so maybe not do what I suggested.
Well, I would love to
For
do
the next meeting.
SAU.
Oh, not do 91A?
Well, no. Do 91A next meeting. I think that's very important. Not do the police, like not switch around, like do 6 p.m. meeting, then 7 p.m. tours, because 91A can take a while. It's very important to get every
Yeah.
question answered.
What if we did like the Lions Hall in April? Because if it's
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Because that
It's-
was,
That,
That would
should
be
be
short.
shorter.
Pretty short.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with that.
okay, so let's try for Lions Hall in April. And, I don't know who needs to come on that, whether that's, us and Dave Wally or us and Mr. Malgoody and Dave Wally or
Yeah.
what. But either way, and then we could do the 91A stuff. 91A briefing, and that is completely dependent on Mike's availability as well. We're assuming he's going to be available in April, but he may not be. So we can always change this up. So either way, we'll try and set those things up. I feel like there's not that much of a difference whether we see it in October or whether we see it in May, whatever we're touring. Things haven't changed that much.
Right.
So, so that's what I said. What my agenda said. What tours do we need this year? I think we've answered that question.
Yep.
My other question was, are there any guest speakers we'd like to hear from? And I'm saying we may not need to hear from Justin and Lisa just to cut down our workload this spring.
Yeah.
Anybody else that you do want to hear from?
I kind of want to hear from everyone, to be honest. Maybe the best time to do that is at the actual tour.
Yeah, we get a ton of information on the tours.
Yes, we
absolutely.
do.
I don't know. I kind of I really want to see their plans to, almost innovate for the upcoming budget season. Like, how do you provide better service within your budget? How do you reduce your budget, or how do you do something else to offset your budget? I think it's a big question that I'd like to have answered. And I think certain departments are already kind of doing that. Like fire is already doing it with storage containers for training. I'm sure he has a written out plan. I'm curious.
Okay, those 3 questions. Say those again.
Right. How do you plan to innovate this upcoming budget season to provide better service within your budget, to reduce your budget, or to somehow offset your budget?
I feel like.
Well, hold on. I have a thought. Sorry.
Okay, you go with your thought.
I was
thought
gonna
first,
say,
and
like-
I'll say mine.
We kind of have a little, well, nothing official, but kind of like a few questions that we ask when we do our liaison reports. Like, okay, are you under budget right now, over budget right now? Where do you expect to be at the end of the budget, end of the financial year? I'm butchering terms here, in June or whatever. we could add that as a question for the liaisons to take to their people.
Yeah.
And then that gives the directors of each department time to develop a response to that.
Yeah.
And either we get that response in the liaison report at some point, or we get that response on the tour when we get to see and talk to them anyway. And then we're not going to the tour and being like, hey, this is our question. We've
Yeah.
already given them the question with a good head start. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's cool with me. And like, I just want them to somehow chew on the idea because it's going to take some time to figure it out. Honestly, and it depends on your department. Depends. Maybe you might really honestly might have nothing. But I kind of like want to give them the opportunity to talk about it
Yep.
because they're doing great things.
And Steve Bro was the former chair in my first year, and he was always asking about process improvements. And that is the same. You're in the same vein here. Like, what are you doing to improve the process to save money?
Right.
And honestly, I think that, and I hope you guys agree, but I think that our department heads are creating pretty lean budgets. It's not like we got the town budget and there was all this fluff and we were like, whoa, what is this, right? And it's not like we got the school budget and there was all this fluff. Like, our task is made easier by the fact that they generally send us pretty lean budgets. Otherwise, we would have a lot more to say. So I think they're doing that a lot already, but we can ask the question and get the responses. And honestly, I think they like the opportunity to say, oh yeah, we saved money doing this, and we saved money doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and we get a lot of that on the tours anyway, but I think if we use that as a liaison question, that'll be positive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and some department heads, like you said, like they just do it automatically. It's just really kind of pump the ones that maybe aren't like
Copy that.
showing their.
And it'd be good, like,
rating.
I think of the library, like, that's a good question that I want to, so that we can get from Erin. Okay, so that's another thought. Do we need a liaison?
For the library?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Maybe not. I feel like, you know, like, we can only be in so many,
Yeah.
you know, places. And as far as the budget goes, it's a small percentage.
We don't have a
Well,
lot
you
of sway
know,
over the
I'll
library
I'll
budget
say
either.
this because I'm only doing police right now. I'd be happy to talk to the library director.
That'd be great.
Okay,
I-
and just
I
start to
wouldn't-
build a relationship a little bit.
Yeah, I'll talk to her
Okay.
and start doing that.
Okay,
Great.
so let's not make it official. We're not adding another liaison.
Yeah.
We're just, you know, having Joe establish a relationship there.
Yeah,
Does that sound
I
right?
think that would be good.
Okay.
Okay.
Good job.
I'd like to make a list of liaison questions
I've just read that, yeah, so,
to include that.
My notes are for 2024 budget season, should develop a list of questions pre-budget seasons to ask department heads as we approach budget season. I will clean this language up. I said budget season like 7 times. And so whoever's the liaison for that will send out those listed questions. But maybe if we say,
So I'll tell you what, sometime over the next month,
Yep.
before we have our April meeting, I'll put together a list with the stuff that Kate has written down, which
Yeah.
hopefully includes what Jason said.
Okay.
email that to me, thanks.
Or let's take a picture of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll come up with a document of suggested liaison questions, and then we'll send that out to. I'll send it out to you guys, and then you'll have it. And so then when you're going to email the chief, you can, you know, copy and paste our suggested list of questions in there, and be like, "Hey, chief,
It's like
I got to do my
ChatGPT.
liaison report."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and honestly, that doesn't really apply as much to the town council
Right.
liaisons and the
Yeah.
school board liaisons. So, you know, that's a little bit of an exception.
Yeah.
So your question doesn't get used by you, sorry.
Hello.
But it can get used by the rest of us,
Yeah.
you know, who are talking to department heads.
Yep.
Cool.
Cool.
And there's nothing wrong with us sending those questions, one of the school board liaisons sending those to Lisa McKinney. You know, if we want a little rundown of where we're at, it's May 1st. Where are we at? You know, we can send it to Lisa. The town hall person can send it to Justin. Same idea.
Sounds good.
This may be too project control-y of me, but that's my background. Do we ever look at burn rate? So if they say we have X amount of dollars throughout the year, let's say $1 million throughout the year, do we see how much they're spending of that $1 million on a regular basis to make sure if they are X percent of the way through their budget, they're going to be in trouble? Do we
Yes.
monitor that anyway?
We tend to get that from our meetings, or at least I was. So, like,
Okay.
for my example with Chief Bernard, he would say, so say they had $1 million to spend. Well, I'll make it an easier number. Say they had 120 grand to spend over 12 months, right? He's telling me, if he's spent more than 10 grand in the first month, he would be saying, hey, I'm over budget a little bit.
Yep.
Like he's basing his assessment of, hey, I'm a little over budget or I'm a little under budget by this number, based on his usage each month. And it's probably not simply, 1/12 of your spending occurs each month, because there's bigger ticket items that happen all at the same time, like the vehicle leases, like, I don't know, whatever other fees they have to pay or whatever. Some of those things happen all at the same time, and their budget is timed to prepare for those things. So, so I think our answer that we get of whether you're over budget or under budget, we're really asking, how are you at this point compared to the whole year? Oh, I've only spent, whatever, $900,000 and I have $1 million, but it's month one. Well, that's not under budget in my opinion, right? So, I guess that question is really, at this point for the year, are you where you expect to be?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Maybe I'll release that question a little bit.
Or for
Clean
the
up that
quarter,
question a little
because
bit.
that's usually how they measure it in.
Oh, for the quarter, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, quarterly, okay.
Because that's usually, with schools, that's how they've done it. Other departments, I would assume they do. Actually, no, I have heard them do the same at town council meetings.
As quarter or month?
Quarter.
Okay.
So maybe we just ask it like that, and within talking with the department heads within our first meetings or calls or whatnot, ask them how do you measure your budget for the fiscal
your process, how far along you are or whatever.
Exactly.
And remember, the liaison job is not the Inquisition,
Right.
We're just trying to stay in contact with them, build relationships, and be up to speed, so there's not giant surprises. And there's not giant surprises.
Right.
But sometimes, and you shouldn't feel pressured like, oh my gosh, I have budget committee tomorrow and I didn't get a report, and then say, hey, I need a report now. That's not going to work. That's not the relationship we're trying to build. If you come to budget committee and you don't have a liaison report, no one's going to care. It's like, hey, no big deal. We'll get them next month. So that's not the intent. We want to have these meetings and have the information, but it's not, vital. It's meant to build relationships.
The Inquisition.
Inquisition.
Sorry, it's my Catholic school. So, okay. Did we miss anything? Oh, I just want to say one more thing. This 6 months, or whatever, however the hell many months it is, from now till November 4th, or the first Saturday in November when we start the budget process, is quick, right? And we really only do liaison reports during this time.
Yep.
So, it does feel like a little bit of a task sometimes. Oh, I gotta make sure I talk to so-and-so, and I gotta make sure I get a report before our meeting. That's only gonna happen these 6 months. And then we're in the budget process, and we don't worry about it because we see them all the time anyway. Right? All the people we're trying to build relationships with, we're gonna see them, on the regular. Cool. Are there other things that I'm not thinking of that need to happen this spring, summer, or in general?
I'd like to eventually vote on the room.
Oh, hi,
It
Jason.
doesn't have to be this meeting.
No, we can talk about that. So, I had suggested to Kirsten that we make Sunnycrest our primary meeting place. Because it feels like we're in a big empty room when we're in Moose Hill and it's just us. It also feels, and maybe this is just a me thing, but less conversational than when we're in here. I feel like we've had good discussions in here, not to disagree with Jason. I feel like and now I just called his wrong name again. I feel like we've had good discussions in here, back and forth. We're able to kind of hear one another's opinions and weigh those things. And I know I personally have been swayed on things and thought differently about them because of our conversations in here. So I feel like this format facilitates that a little better. We don't get 40 members of the public that come in. Maybe we will, but we don't now. If that was the case, I'd be saying, yeah, we should be in Moose Hill. But the way it's been, I like coming here. What are your guys' thoughts? Go ahead, man. Counter argument.
Again, I like it over there. If it's not booked, official government business. I don't know, official. Like we're a committee. Committees meet over there if it's available. I don't know if there's a conflict. Here's fine. We should still meet. This might be
So you would rather see this as the second choice? Is that the primary and this the secondary?
right.
So
Do
there-
other committees does everybody else meet over there?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say, one real way that you can tell when you're gonna get a huge audience is when you get a lot of people emailing you. In the past 3 years, I've been on the budget committee. Actually, now, this is my now 4th year. I've gotten a total of 3 emails,
Yeah, I probably got
and
a handful this year.
in that room, we've had a total of the most amount of folks that came over there.
It was like
3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2
That's-
or 3, very few.
3 is the max, and that's obviously not counting right before the February before election day, after everything's already done. Because when candidates show up, all the candidates show up for the most part, because not even all candidates show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely.
And
That,
so-
in that case, I would definitely say we do that February meeting in Moose Hill
Yeah,
to hear from candidates
beside-
and let them introduce themselves.
but aside from there, I mean, if we get 1 or 2, everyone's able to fit in here.
Yep.
If we have an issue in which we need to move somewhere else or we have to restructure things, we can work with whomever.
Yeah.
We can work with Kirsten on that.
Right, and actually, since it's going to be the 3rd Thursday now, and that's the plan going forward is 3rd Thursday, not 4th Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
Used to be 4th. If we show up, that room should still be available, and if we have 10 public show up, we can always switch it.
Right,
So
because
it takes-
I've got to agree that within this room, we have had better.
I agree.
We've had easier discussions and better discussions, being able to look at each other across from sitting at the table. But if we have a feeling, like due to volumes of email or whatnot, that we need that room,
We can arrange that.
Yeah, we can let Kirsten know, like, hey, we're gonna get a huge crowd for our meeting. Like, we need
Yep.
the Moose Hill conference room.
Or if we have a presenter, I think
Yep.
it might be better.
Okay, yes, good
Yeah.
point.
Okay.
Like we had that meeting about pickleball, and the pickleball
Yes.
guys came and presented.
That's
that
It
worked
would be
really,
really cramped in here.
that worked really
Yes.
well over there.
That's fair,
But that's-
too.
Otherwise, I like it here too.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree with that.
okay, so it seems like the majority likes this as primary and that as needed.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't mean to make a command decision and not talk to anybody about
The
it.
one thing that I will say is that I do want to make sure that that's where. So I have someone who likes to watch my
Yeah,
meetings,
same.
and when she turns it on, when we're in there, she can watch the meetings. But when we're in here, she isn't always able to see the meetings.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that when we're live, like, because I can see us on the little screen there.
Yep.
Hello.
Is
But-
it working?
Yeah, I would hope so, but I want to make
And
sure
are the
that
meetings aired in real time or are they aired after the fact?
no,
After.
in real time.
Are
Well,
they?
Oh, when she watches,
Yeah,
she
they're-
watches in real time.
Yeah,
Oh,
town
here?
council's definitely aired in real
Yeah,
time.
I know
Airs to
that
town
is.
council is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's seen our meetings in real time.
So those
too,
are the questions.
when
We
we're
need to
over
ask.
I can answer one of them right now. I mean, my wife went looking for it tonight and she couldn't find it.
Oh.
there. Same thing with my
It's
girlfriend.
like on a different channel. It's not on Londonderry, whatever. It's
we can
not-
check it, though.
It's on something. I just
Or
don't
maybe
know
that's
what
something that we have to ask the town council is like, hey, put this on, make it this meeting easy for everyone to see live for those who do want to tune in.
Okay, and I don't think they'll have any problem with that. It may not
Yeah.
even be a town council thing. It might be a talk to Kirsten, talk to
I'm pretty sure
the
that's
video guy,
it.
and
Admin stuff.
yeah, I think we can get it all squared away. No
Yeah.
problem. Cool. And if we can't, and the only way it's going to be live fed is in Moose Hill,
Then
then
we
Jason
just
wins and we go to Moose Hill.
yeah.
Jason wins. Oh, God.
That's all I do, Jason.
Fair enough.
We might as well have your official vote then.
do we need to vote on this?
I don't
All right. So
think
Uh,
so.
Okay.
okay, cool. We'll keep it
Because
unofficial.
because Patrick, this is at your discretion. You're the chair. This is at your discretion.
Okay, fair enough. Let's make this the primary in
Yeah.
Moose Hill as needed.
Okay.
But we're gonna look into the video stuff and make sure it's squared away.
Yeah.
So, I'm making myself to do list. Set up 91A briefing, look into video. Set up the tours, and what else is on my list? And list of liaison questions.
And Mike for the 91A.
Yep, I got that first.
Tough job being chair.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's a little bit of admin duties, but it's not too bad. Honestly, I got to like Monday and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have a meeting Thursday. I need to send out an agenda. So that happens sometimes, but yeah, it's not bad. And I think that our process last year with the grants, the community service grants,
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
Mhm.
I know that last year we voted to just do 92% because there was not very many people that companies that asked. So we'll continue that process, but that way we did that last year, I want to say again, did not set a precedent, and we will
So we didn't
evaluate
go
it
over budget.
and do it normally. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And if we want to do something like that again, fine. But I didn't. I wanted to make sure that we didn't set a precedent with that.
Yeah.
So that process is happening in. That happens like September, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. In the fall.
Starts in August. We get the
Maybe
August.
the applications are due in August, and we get them in September, and then we vote
In
on them in
October.
October or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I really kind of. So it was definitely in that September October timeframe.
Because you guys got appointed in
September.
I was here for
Yeah,
that.
late
Okay.
September you got appointed.
September, yeah.
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 So okay,
So
so just
I'm
that's
wrong on
also
that.
on the radar over the next 6 months between now and budget season. Is
Yeah.
We have to take care of that.
All right.
Cool. If there's nothing further,
A motion to adjourn the meeting.
I just have one more. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. No one second that.
The only thing that I'm thinking of, because we're talking about liaison reports and committees and things like that, but I'm curious about planning board was brought up, and I've been sort of thinking about this. Would planning board be something important to get more information on or discuss a little bit more? Because planning boards could mean additional tax revenue, which could affect budgets, which could affect
agreed, absolutely.
other things. So I don't know how involved we want to get with planning board or.
So
You know.
my only counterpoint is that by the time that it becomes something, it's at the town council. So we'll get that. So by the time,
Okay.
so that's my thing. Like once it becomes something that will affect tax revenue, it's at the town council. If
Okay.
And,
it's
and then
not-
our liaisons get it there.
yeah.
Okay, got
So
it.
that's just
And we have
just
Got it.
like if
We've
we
inside
had
information.
2 more members, I'd say yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But because even with the 7, like
We're doubling up already
yeah,
a bit.
Okay, just making sure, because if it goes up to the town council, it doesn't make sense to double dip.
right.
So,
No, that's a good
Good
question.
Yeah,
Solid point.
no,
Yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Anything else?
Any parting words?
Oh well,
this is great.
I would like to make
Interaction
a
between
motion to open public comment.
I say, is it, so I mean that's just a rules question. But
Yeah.
if it's a liaison or a guest, do we need to like treat it and do that?
So I would like to. I'm a big stickler for the rules. I mean, you guys can feel free to disagree with me. I'm a huge stickler for like we got
do public comment at the beginning and the
and
end.
the end. Just because that gives folks and not have any restrictions on what can be asked or whatnot. Because I know in some other committees, it's like, well, you can only ask about public comment on certain issues. With budget committee, I'd like for it to be at the beginning and the end of each meeting.
We can discuss whatever the public.
Yeah,
wants.
Yeah.
and if the public brings something up, even if we already discussed it before, or even if they already brought it up before, you know, they've got their 3-5 minutes, whatever it is, whatever we decide. I mean, how many minutes do you want to give for public comment?
5 is not unreasonable.
Okay, yeah, so 5. So 5 minutes, beginning and the end, and that just like if folks come here and want to bring something up, you know, they have their time at the beginning and the end.
Sure, and I think that goes along with some of the suggestions from the citizen petitions that we, make sure that we're giving opportunities for public comment. It's never been an issue on budget committee.
Yeah.
We've had literally one public comment
Yeah.
since I've been on budget committee.
It was
So-
very nice.
And when I was like, when I was on here, when Chad Franz was chair, I mean that's what we had. We had 5 minutes at the beginning, 5 minutes at the end. No one would show up, but the folks who did, they'd have something to say at the beginning and the end, and that would turn into important discussion. So that's why I'm a big fan, because when someone does take
Okay,
the effort,
so
even a liaison,
I also am not great about the rules in that even at the beginning of the meeting, we didn't have any public comment. I just moved to business.
you did ask though.
I did ask if there was any.
You did ask.
But we didn't vote to move out of public comment. Do we need to do that? I feel like that's more formal than we need to be.
Yeah, that's more formal than we need to be. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm fine with just you as the chair just saying, let's open it up to public comment.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, congratulations. Thank you for being our liaison.
Yes.
Any public comment?
Yeah,
Name
the
and
only
name
thing
and
I'd
address
say-
for the record. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. John Faber, 73 Old Nashville Road.
That's so weird.
Sometimes I actually start to think that people's names and I have their address in the back.
Seriously,
I
it's a little scary, right?
Fun, firstly.
No, I love the interaction between you guys. I think it's just great. I love the closeness of this room. It seems like you guys are really interacting. Not to take a side in that battle
It's
as you
okay.
wish. But yeah, no, this is great.
Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Thank you. And you don't have to put his address. You can just put town council liaison or something if you want.
Okay.
The minutes are also, I'm a little lax on the rules. I do apologize. If you guys think I need to be harder and more firm about stuff, just let me know.
It only
Good job.
becomes a big issue when a member of the public makes a big issue about it. That's a big
That's
thing.
true.
If a member of the public says, I want it like this, I want more firm, then that's when it's like, okay, yeah,
Then
we
we
can,
can-
we can do that.
Point of word, just kidding.
Great. All right, so I have my list of to-dos, and I think we know where we're heading with this season. Oh, you know what I did want to do? Ryan had some comments he sent me. Can I borrow that for a minute? Ryan had some comments.
AU1, SHAU1,
Yeah, W.
W1. Sorry. Okay.
I'll fix it right now. I'm literally right there. All right, so Ryan's email, as soon as I find it, and then we'll get out of here. He wants to congratulate all the successful candidates. Welcome back, Kate and Jason. Congratulations and welcome to Dave. He looks forward to another impactful year of working to help the town manage their budgets together. As far as his fire department liaison report, although we didn't do liaison reports tonight, he said the department is currently at 73% of its budgeted spending for fiscal year 24, which again ends June 30th. So that's pretty good pace. That puts them trending slightly over budget. Fleet maintenance and overtime are the primary drivers. Overtime should come down as they are only short one staff member currently. They have someone ready to go. They just need the green light from town hall. He says he'll be sitting down with the deputy chief on April 1st to look at the fiscal year 24 and 25 budgets to review and game plan.
Okay.
As far as assignments for this upcoming year, as I said, he would like to keep the fire department as his primary. He wouldn't mind keeping the school as secondary. Okay. But if someone else is passionate about it, I'd be willing to give it up for something else. So that being said, I'm glad I looked back at this. We arbitrarily assigned Dave to schools,
Yep.
Dave and Jason. So if Dave would rather only have one role and Ryan wants that, I'll offer that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that fine?
Well, and
That's cool.
I'll just say this for everyone who's here. Just because you're not a liaison to something doesn't mean you can't
Can't
go
go to meetings
there
anyway.
and then bring something about the meeting that someone might have missed or something that
You
you
did
might
that to
want
me,
to
and that was
interject.
very helpful. So.
Because, right, one of the nice things about our committee when it comes to that stuff is that it's a very like open and right, we're open with each other. We talk about and we discuss a lot. So if you see something that you want to comment on that didn't get discussed, someone's liaison report, and you want to add that, and you want to say, well, I saw this and I just wanted this, or I had an opinion about this. Nothing's stopping you from doing that.
Yes.
That's the great thing. Nothing is stopping you from doing that and still contributing.
That being
So,
said, I think that if you have questions for, say the fire chief,
Yeah.
and you're not the fire chief liaison, it should probably go through me.
Yes.
Is that reasonable?
Oh yeah.
So shoot me
100%.
an email, be like, hey, I have some questions about the implementation of the fly car or whatever, and can you forward these to Chief Butler?
Yeah.
And I'll do that. And if I don't respond to you, text me. I think everybody's got my number.
Yep.
Because, like I said, right now it's 1995 and I have to log into the email. So hopefully that's not the case in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I do kind of want to try and that's not me trying to be control freak.
Nope.
But I don't want them getting bombarded by 4 different budget committee members all sending them the same questions or similar questions. I want us to, build positive relationships with the key players, and I think it will help that if it's coming from one direction.
And I also
Is
want to
that fair?
add to that even if you are the liaison, it's just good to loop in Patrick.
Yep.
Just
Okay.
so that because he's the chair, he should know. Well, he should have eyes on
Everything.
what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's just great for accountability, and that's great for us. Like even if someone isn't able, like let's just say, I'm not able to attend. I asked Chief Bernard a question, And I got Patrick on the email as well. Patrick's able to see Chief Bernard's response. I can say, hey, Pat, can you let people know? They answer to it because I'm not going to be there. That gives him eyes on it. That gives the public eyes on it. I just think that's a good practice for this committee. Even if you are the liaison, just still loop in Pat.
Yeah, just CC me on the email. Or if you have a direct question for them, email me and I'll send it to them. I know that's kind of red tape, but it's the government. What can I say?
Yeah.
So that brings me a good point, though. If you got something going on and you are not going to be here, just let me know. It's not a big deal. This isn't this isn't the end of the world if you miss a meeting. Cool. If you're going to Europe for 6 months or something. Anyway, so then without further ado, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. So
Okay.
did you get in the notes in the